All right, so you know how much people love to argue about iPhone versus Android? It's like a tech tradition at this point. But luckily, we've got Marques Brownlee's take on this to like guide us through it
Yeah.
because he's like insanely thorough, but also like really even-handed, which is what we need.
He is, yeah. He cuts through all the hype and gives us these 7 key areas to actually consider. And the best part is he actually offers like a point system at the end. So you can decide which platform actually comes out on top based on what you care about.
I love that. So it's not just blindly joining Team iPhone or Team Android. We're using our brains here. What's the first category in this digital showdown?
The first one up is personalization.
Hmm.
And this is where Android really shines. So imagine if you can your phone's entire look and feel adapting to your wallpaper. That's basically material. You design in a nutshell. You've got icon packs, custom widgets, even entirely different launchers. Like if you can dream it on Android, you could probably do it.
It's true. I've always been a little jealous of like those crazy Android home screens. And I'm over here stuck with Apple's grid, like can't even move an app icon outside the lines or anything. It's sleek and all, but like a little freedom would be nice.
Yeah, and that's kind of a theme you'll notice with these first few categories. Android's open source nature just gives you so much control. Like we're talking battery management features, file management, gaming optimizations, like things that most iPhone users wouldn't even know exist.
Hmm.
So if you like to tinker with stuff, Android is like your playground.
Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like the power to just tweak your refresh rate whenever you want, or even reverse wireless charging. That feels very futuristic to me. Are you saying iPhone users are missing out on this?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But Brownlee points out that iPhones often adopt features that Android has had for a while.
It's the whole imitation is the best form of flattery thing, but being on the cutting edge has its perks. Okay, enough gushing about Android. What's the next category?
So next, we're shifting gears to ease of use. And this is where iPhone kind of shines. You see all that flexibility we were talking about. It can be a double-edged sword. A lot of people just want their phone to work. And in that case, iPhone's intuitive design and lack of bloatware is really appealing. It's like having that comfy pair of jeans you always go back to.
I get that. That green phone icon has been in the same place for like a decade.
Exactly.
You know, there's something to be said for that consistency, especially for people who aren't like super techy. Apple's it just works factor is definitely real.
Exactly. But keep in mind, easy sometimes means less flexibility. You're trading customization for simplicity. Now let's move on to a category that I love, support, specifically software updates.
Uh-oh. I feel like I know where this is going. Does Android even stand a chance?
Well, it's complicated. Some Android manufacturers like Samsung are making some progress with longer updates, but nothing comes close to Apple's commitment. We're talking 5+ years of software and security updates. For iPhones, imagine still getting new features on a phone from 2018. That basically never happens in the Android world.
Wow. That's kind of mind-blowing. My phone feels old after like 2 years. So
Yeah.
that's got to be a huge selling point for iPhone, people who want to hold on to their phones longer.
Yeah, especially if you care about security. Think of software updates like maintenance for your phone. And Apple is offering a pretty amazing service plan.
Okay, that's a great analogy. So Apple is really taking care of its users in the long run. What's up next?
Speaking of software, let's talk apps. This is another area where the platforms are different.
Okay, hit me with it. App Store versus Google Play. Is one actually better? Is it an app showdown or what?
Yeah. So it's closer than you might think. But iPhone kind of takes the cake here.
Oh.
Basically, both app stores have millions of apps, right? But developers often prioritize iOS, because Apple's hardware is more unified and the development process is just smoother. So what does that mean for us normal people? Basically, smoother performance and more frequent updates on iPhone, usually.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I have noticed that. Like, I've seen cool new features on my friends' iPhones before mine, and I'm always like, come on, it's always a bummer. Okay, so points for Apple on the app front. What's next?
Okay, let's talk about the fun factor, like the excitement of what's next in the smartphone world. You probably know where I'm going with this.
Oh, I think I do. If we're talking about like pushing boundaries and innovation, Android wins, right?
Bingo. Android is like the Wild West of smartphones. You want foldable phones that seem impossible. Android has them. Gaming phones with crazy specs.
Yeah.
Android has those too. Plus, you've got budget-friendly options that don't feel cheap. The variety in the Android world is insane.
Yeah, it really is. It always feels like something new and exciting is about to drop in the Android world. And then with iPhones, it's like, oh, cool, they finally added that feature that Android's had for like 3 years.
It's true. It's a different philosophy.
Yeah.
Apple's about refining what already works and making it perfect. But Android is about experimenting and pushing the limits of what a phone can even do.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, we've covered a lot here. What's the final category in this epic showdown?
Last but not least, we got to talk about ecosystems, like the whole web of devices and services that connect our digital lives. This is where things get interesting.
Ooh, I bet. This one's gonna be a tough one. Apple is known for its ecosystem, but Samsung's been stepping up their game lately.
Yeah, it's a close one, for
Yeah.
sure. For years, Apple was the king of ecosystem integration, no doubt. AirDrop continuity camera. The way your iPhone just works with your Mac and iPad, it's pretty impressive. They want you to stay in their world.
Yeah, Apple's ecosystem is slick for sure, but you're right, Samsung is building something really compelling too. They've got phones, tablets, earbuds that compete with AirPods, even smartwatches.
Totally. And don't forget about their home appliances. Samsung is going all in on the smart home, which is something Apple hasn't really done yet. So Apple still has the edge when it comes to that seamless, user-friendly experience, but Samsung is a serious competitor now.
It's a real battle of the titans. So after that close race, who wins? Is there even a clear winner?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And the answer is, like most things in life, it depends. Remember that point system Brownlee talked about?
Oh, right. Where we decide what matters most to us.
Yeah.
Love that user empowerment. So how does it work again?
It's simple but genius. You go through each category we discussed, customization, features, ease of use, all that. And you give each one a score based on how important it is to you personally.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So someone who values a seamless experience and long-term support, they might give those categories a high score, which would probably make them lean towards iPhone.
Exactly. But then someone who wants cutting-edge features and the freedom to customize, they might lean towards Android.
This is so helpful. It takes the emotion out of it and lets you decide based on what you actually need from a phone. I love that. We're not just going with the crowd here. It's all about finding the phone that actually fits your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what makes Brownlee's approach so cool. It's not about winning or losing. It's about giving you the info to make the best choice for you.
And it got me thinking, beyond these 7 categories, are there other things that might influence our decision, like things that are harder to measure but still matter when you use your phone every day?
Oh, totally. Brand loyalty is huge for some people. Like maybe they love Apple's design or the feeling of being part of that ecosystem, and they can't imagine switching.
Right. Or some people love that Android is open source, like it's all about freedom and flexibility.
It's true. And let's not forget about privacy. Apple is known for being really good on that front, which is a big deal for a lot of people.
Especially these days with all the data breaches and stuff. That's definitely on people's minds.
So picking a phone isn't just about specs and features. It's also about your values, your priorities, your comfort level with a company.
It's about finding the platform that just feels right. So there you have it, the iPhone versus Android debate. No easy answers. Which is what makes these deep dives so fun, right?
Absolutely. It's about asking the important questions and figuring out what really matters.
Well said. Now, excuse me, I've got a scorecard to fill out and some thinking to do about my next phone.